Hello, everyone. I'm really glad to be here as speaker at YaConf, and today we got together in order to discuss brain-friendly teaching techniques. Probably I'm going to disappoint some of you because I'm not a neuroscientist. No, I'm not. So why am I considering myself to be intelligible for giving a speech on this topic? Because I'm an English teacher with more than 8 years of experience, and I have pretty much stuff in these years. So I used to be a CEO of my own English studio, a director of studies in an English school, and I currently work as an author of an English course book, a teacher trainer and mentor, and a methodologist in the IT company, which trains QA engineers. And also I'm getting a degree in psychology. So you see, my experience is quite diverse, if not to say more. And why is that? Because I am very curious. I'm curious about everything, about my students' performance, about their issues, about my own perception of my teaching and training. And as I have a constant flow of voice, I do a lot of research to find at least some becauses.
Хотите постоянно развиваться в преподавании иностранных языков? Школа Дмитрия Никитина проводит образовательные тренинги, конференции и курсы для преподавателей. Подробности о событиях можно узнать по ссылке в описании.
And actually, I discovered that many answers are in our brain functioning. And today, I would be glad to share 3 interesting points with you. The first one is why rewarding students can ruin their motivation. The second one, why might you encourage your students to eat, drink during the lessons? And the third one is how your students' bodies can help you teach better. But don't think that you're going to passively listen to my stories and researches, but we are going to do a lot of practice and discussion during which you will come up with your own ideas on how to implement this into your teaching. So I guess we can start. And the first question to discuss is the following. Why rewarding students can ruin their motivation? I'd like to tell you about the experiment done in Stanford many years ago, which demonstrated that reward can negatively impact the level of motivation in kids. How come? There were children in kindergarten who drew pictures. They weren't asked to do that. They did it just because they intrinsically love drawing pictures. The researchers took kids who like to draw and started giving them a reward for drawing. So it could be like a gold star or whatever kid would find rewarding. Then they stopped giving them the gold stars and found out, guess what? That kids were had much lower tendency to draw on their own. Why was that? Our drive and motivation and craving to do stuff is because of the neuromodulators, dopamine and epinephrine. Epinephrine is mostly needed to give us energy to do stuff, but dopamine is released when we do stuff successfully. So I won't dive deep into how neuromodulators work, but for our purposes, we need to understand only 2 terms. The tonic level of dopamine, it's right here, and the fatigue level of dopamine. So the tonic level is the baseline of dopamine that is circulating in your body at all times. So it's pretty much genetic. And this makes some of us more or less excitable, more or less motivated in general, and more or less enthusiastic. And the fatigue level, where is my mouse? And the fatigue level, peaks, are local releases of dopamine between cells. And it's the dopamine level when you have a highly pleasurable experience. So it's like a peak of motivation and enjoyment and the peak of dopamine. And beware, what happens after each peak. Where's my mouse again? So what happens after each peak? You hit the bottom. The higher the peak, the lower the bottom. Just as everything in our life. And when we are engaged in some pleasurable experience, our dopamine is released normally. But as soon as we start giving extra reward, we make the cycles longer and more extreme. And let's have a look what happened to those kids from the experiment. I created a couple of diagrams on my own. So look at the cycles of dopamine. So at first they're pretty normal, and then suddenly they got extra reward, like extra dopamine. Their peaks got twice higher. So they got lower afterwards, and their peaks and lowest points became more distant from each other. And at some point, the peaks in dopamine became equal to the rewards. Let's have a look. Why kids were less motivated to draw? Because before implementing the reward, the drawing occurred like here in the peaks, here. And then after implementing the reward, it started occurring somewhere here. Like here is a drawing and here was the reward. And they drew actually while they were recovering after the lowest points of their like dopamine. It's all interesting, but how can you use this information? So what can you get from it? First, I would recommend you to think about the activities your students do at the peaks of dopamine. Observe what the students enjoy doing without rewards, and don't give rewards for these activities. So I don't encourage you to stop giving rewards at all, but I would encourage you to not give rewards for what students do like on their own, intrinsically motivated, etc. The second point to remember is that motivation is always a curve. You can't manage it. And when you get, for example, an adult student coming to you and telling like, I'm ready to start learning English, I will do everything you tell me to do. Be ready to tell him just no, you won't. After a couple of months or so, you will lose a great part of this enthusiasm, but after a while, you will find it again. And then like the cycle repeats. So, and it's okay. And the third point, remember that your students have different dopamine baselines and you can't manage it as well. So only if you want to make them like have cold plunges every morning, which by the way is proven to be an efficient way to increase the dopamine baseline in long term. But it's not usually what teachers should do. And some of students will be constantly less motivated to do stuff than others by design. And it's also okay. And what we actually can do to encourage our students to get satisfaction from learning itself, not from the reward. And now it's time for discussion for you. I would ask you to pause the video and think of at least 3 things that you can do to promote learners getting pleasure from the process of learning. Hopefully you've done that. And now I'm glad to share my ideas with you. The first point is allowing your students to have enough focus time. There are special images for concentration because concentration is important. You can use those types of images at the beginning of your classes. Let's have a look here and ask your students to, for example, look in the center of this circle for like 2 minutes, or find a cat in a picture full of elephants, or there are other different types of pictures like that. And just do it every lesson and your student will be like more concentrated, which will also contribute to release of dopamine. Then next point is interesting one. You have to activate the special schemata of craving. It again refers to feelings which arise in our body, which when we do something hard and enjoyable at the same time. So my example is having a cold shower. So I have cold showers every morning and it feels like terrible, but I enjoy it and it's hard. And when I have to focus and learn or work hard, I kind of imitate my actions before a cold shower. Like what can my body do before like a cold shower, like a little shake off, a sigh of acceptance like this. And now we gotta go. And when I do these small activities, these small movements before going to deep work, my brain starts releasing dopamine from now on, and I get actually way more pleasure from learning. This kind of like brain life hack or something. And it helps me very much, and you can come up with your own activity. Probably you don't like have cold showers every morning. And the last point, just be passionate and enthusiastic teacher. And it goes without saying that just show that you don't need a reward for learning. You don't need a reward for working. And your students will like immediately feel it. Okay, are we ready to move further? Hopefully, yes. And the next question to discuss is, why might you encourage your students to eat during the lesson? Usually it's not what we do, but knowledge of neuroscience is really connected to knowledge of evolutionary mechanisms, which can provide us with like food for thoughts. If you imagine the life, for example, 5,000 years ago, you will come to the conclusion that it used to be rather hard. And what is more important for us at this session is that people at the times had to operate all their feelings in order to survive. They couldn't ignore the smells, the tastes, visual images, kinesthetic senses. If they had done that, we would have never had conferences and you wouldn't have listened to me right now. So thank you, ancient guys back there, for being so attentive and cautious. Good job. And what it leads us to is that our brain got used to function in a multisensory environment. And there are numerous studies on this topic, and I'll provide you with a list of follow-up reading in the end of the presentation. And I want to introduce you to the concept of multisensory learning. The definition of multisensory learning then is using the neuroscience behind how we learn to teach lessons that engage two or more senses. I'm sure that most of you include audio or visual multimedia into your assignments, into your classes, but multisensory learning can also add tactile, smell, and taste-related materials. And why is that so effective? The first and the foremost reason is that your students remember the information better, and new neurons and neural pathways are built faster. We'll talk about it a little bit later, right now. So multisensory learning demands attention and focus in a way that is engaging and enjoyable. It stimulates the RAS, which stands for reticular activating system in our brain, and this is like the fight or flight part of our brain. It's right here, and it acts as a guard that sits between your brain, like your neurocortex, and your senses. And actually, it filters what information gets through and what does not. So technically, the only way to provide information to the brain is through our senses. And the brain learns by sifting through massive amounts of input arriving simultaneously from all the senses we have, and eliminates or like ignores irrelevant material. And powerful learning, therefore, begins with high levels of sensory input and exposure from different experiences.
Хотите постоянно развиваться в преподавании иностранных языков? Школа Дмитрия Никитина проводит образовательные тренинги, конференции и курсы для преподавателей. Подробности о событиях можно узнать по ссылке в описании.
And it's all interesting, but again, how can we apply it for our lessons? If you decide to try multisensory learning, keep the level of stress on the appropriate point. Your students should be alert, but not as if they're chased by a tiger. It's where like the powerful learning begins. And again, I want to share my example with you. I am a really light teacher. I don't push. I allow students time to think, to process information. So there is always a very relaxed atmosphere at my lessons. But there is a student of mine who is extremely good at speaking when he's angry and stressed. When I found this out, I was kind of astonished. I usually do reflection after each lesson and asked him what he learned from this lesson. And once he told me, it's an exact quote, I will remember from this lesson that I speak a lot of English when I am angry. It's what he says as a beginner level student who is learning English for less than 2 months. It's incredible. He would never say it being in a relaxed state. So get to know your students better and try to provide the most appropriate level of stress for them. The second point to consider here is to encourage your students to move, eat, and drink and look around during lessons as much as possible. Don't let them just sit in front of the computer or in an offline class. We always encourage our young students to move every 5 or 10 minutes. But why don't we do the same with adults? There is no way they won't benefit from it. So I try doing that. And the last point is that curiosity is a key. Your students should feel learning English as living in a tribe 5,000 years ago. And there is a question, what if? What if is the best question your students should ask constantly? What if I apply this rule? What if I use this word in this context? What if I smell an orange while memorizing the words for today's lesson? Why not? And I also encourage you to practice this question. What if you tried multisensory learning for teaching family topic with a group of, say, elementary adults? I would encourage you to pause the video now and try to think of activities which you can do with your learners to activate their kinesthetic, vision, taste, smell, and audition. Well, hopefully you've done that. And now I'm ready to share my answers with you. The way you can promote kinesthetics is just to bring real pictures of family members into the classroom, asking students to do this, to print them out actually and bring it to the classroom and discuss in some way. Also, kinesthetic is activated when you do everything related to role plays, something which engage students in some movements. Then the next one, vision. How can we promote vision? It's very easy. You do it every lesson. Just include videos, pictures, etc. into your classes. I'm sure that we all do this. How can we promote smell? It's much more interesting. My idea here is to ask students to recall the smell of, say, mom's kitchen or the smell of the house where they were brought up, and tell each other about their thoughts, what comes to their mind, what they feel when they smell this sound, smell this house, their parents smell probably. Then how can we promote audition? It's again pretty easy. Just listen to conversations, listen to audios, recordings. We all do this. It's good. And the last but not least, how can we promote taste? We can bring students some tea with cookies. Cookies are optional, so make sure nobody is allergic or intolerant, and play some vocabulary board game. It will activate and promote students to recall materials better. And now I guess we're ready to move on to the next question. And it's the last one for today. How can you students' bodies help you teach better? Here, I mean, of course, your knowledge of your students' organisms functioning. And again, there was a research conducted in 2017. Actually, it's one of many papers which can be found on this topic. I'll share it in the end, which demonstrated the increased academic performance of primary school students after incorporating 2 deep breathing techniques into the learning process. The results of the studies will be provided in additional materials for you, but actually, in short, not only there are mostly positive changes in relation to academic performance, but researchers and teachers also mentioned the better discipline, better self-regulation, self-control, attention, and focus of their students. This magic. So how does the deep breathing work? In the yogic tradition, breath control exercises emphasize slow and deep breathing. It can be shown to increase the body's overall circulation by releasing tension and increasing the levels of blood and oxygen throughout the entire body. And the central nervous system is divided into 2 subsystems, known as sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, respectively. The sympathetic one prepares the body for the fight or flight response during any potential danger. On the other hand, the parasympathetic nervous system inhibits the body from overworking and restores the body to calm and to composed state. And deep breathing exercises influence both of the subsystems by deactivating the sympathetic fight or flight system and activating the parasympathetic one. Because nowadays, in our world full of different tense situations like work, social interactions, other issues, we are usually in a fight or flight state much more than we are supposed to be. And the result of deep breathing is a sense of calmness, emotional balance, and increased concentration. And breathing exercises train our students to center and to calm themselves on their own. Now, how can you integrate this new knowledge into your teaching? Tip 1, try to devote every 2 or 3 minutes in the beginning of each class to breathing practices. You have to be consistent in order to see long-term effects of practices. When I incorporated breathing techniques into my classroom, I saw the first results, I guess, in a couple of weeks, as soon as students got used to it. And some of them reported about more calm and focused state right after the first lesson, which I guess is good. And tip 2, make sure that the techniques you use are age and level appropriate. Do some pre-teaching if you feel that instructions are too difficult for your students. And what is more, keep in mind that adult students are able to concentrate on their thoughts and breathing, while children might need extra assistance. And luckily, there are lots of special video content developed for young and even very young learners, which you can use for everyday practices. And tip 3, try different techniques by yourself and encourage your students to explore it with you. And beware that your students shouldn't have any health issues which can affect their experience. By the way, deep breathing techniques prove to be from little to no side effects, while more intensive ones can be done only with some limitations, so be careful.
Хотите постоянно развиваться в преподавании иностранных языков? Школа Дмитрия Никитина проводит образовательные тренинги, конференции и курсы для преподавателей. Подробности о событиях можно узнать по ссылке в описании.
And now is when I'm ready to share some of my favorite not teaching techniques, but breathing techniques, with you. And I do it like every morning, right after my cold showers. And now I would encourage you just follow my instructions and try to relax. I've chosen some relaxation techniques, as I know that the most of the time in our working days we are rather alert. And I would strongly recommend you to take off your shoes, if you're wearing shoes right now, and put your feet on the floor. Sit in an upright position, make yourself comfortable, and you can close your eyes. It's optional, but you can do this. So first, let's take 5 deep breaths. focusing on an exhalation. Your body will inhale involuntarily on its own, so don't worry about it. And focus on the exhales. And do it with your nose. Let's try to do it all together. I'll count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's so good. After me giving the speech, it's rather like down to earth. Okay. And the next exercise or like technique or practice is called physiological sigh. How is it done? You're supposed to inhale twice. The first inhale should be very deep, like you did in the previous exercise, like this. After that, you do one sharp and quick inhale, like this. After that, when you are like full of oxygen, it's your maximum capacity of oxygen in your body, and you exhale with your mouth with a sound of release. It should look something like this. Let's do it 3 times, but not that fast as I show it right now. Let's do it once. 2. Inhale. Short inhale. Exhale. And 3. Inhale. Short one. Exhale. Oh, it's so good again. I feel much calmer right now. And the last practice is square breathing. I know that probably most of you have heard of it before and probably practiced it before, but it's really good one. It's one of the best practices and the most effective ones, which really makes wonders. And how it is done, if you don't know how, I will count to 4, and you will inhale to 4, like, then you will keep your breathing for 4. Then you will exhale for 4, like, and keep again. So when I do this exercise, I will count, and you just focus on the breathing, and it should occur like a square, like inhale, keep, exhale, keep. Let's do it 3 times. I will count, so be ready. Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, keep, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, keep, 2, 3, 4. Let's do it second time. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, keep, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, keep, 2, 3, 4. And let's do it the third time. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, keep, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, and keep, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I feel much calmer even if I was just counting, but now I would ask you to pause the video here and think, evaluate your experience. What do you feel? Are there any changes after the practice? And do you feel calmer and more stable? Reflect on it for a couple of minutes and then come back. And now it's time to finish. I believe that your lessons will be much more brain-friendly right now, and I was able to fire up an interest in neurobiology in you. So be curious, be in wonder, and remember that there are a lot of causes for all your whys. And feel free to contact me in all social media using ELT Reflective. And if you use this QR code, you will find all additional materials I have prepared for you, such as a set of meditations, which you can use with your adults and kids, some interesting articles and scientific videos, which my speech was actually based on, and a special promo code for my one-to-one sessions, especially for you. Thank you. That's it.